Bartenders of Reddit, what is the strangest conversation you've ever overheard? Because people assume sound doesn't travel over the bar. A woman was planning her dog's birthday party and was debating which dogs to invite, since some of the dogs didn't get along with her dog. You can pick your dog and you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your dog's friends. Had someone yell RIP Olivia Newton-John and I interjected that she wasn't dead. Big mistake. Drunk idiot got on one of those drunk loops about how I was wrong, until we closed 20 minutes later. I even showed him on my phone that she wasn't dead, and he said you can Google anything. A woman at a corporate event was explaining to 3 male coworkers how she loves the thrill attained from coke being snorted off her ass. Sounds like someone I could get behind. 3 girls were talking about some guy one of them was hooking up with. Apparently the night before, she'd puked all over his still boned. Got all the details I never wanted. I overheard a woman who worked for a New Zealand online dating service and was basically a profile censor. She described her job as being 80% dick removal and had seen so many she could divvy them up into a few distinct categories. I, a dude, have a very similar job and can confirm. Honestly though, compared to the other things I have to remove, pics are like the best case scenario in my day. These 3 middle-aged women, alone at the bar, discussing in excruciating detail their sexual fantasies, which seemed to include f***ing off a younger man. I was 22 at the time. They obviously knew I could hear them, but it was so awkward. I stood there cutting the hell out of lemons and limes. You've never had the out of you by a guy like me? Oh Jesus, I think I'm the woman who got that it line. Sorry. He went home alone. I overheard a guy telling his friend that he was going to have sex with that bartender, pointing to me. He proceeded to say, she might not be there, but I'm still going to have sex with her. Classy. I bartended at a country club, and there was this one group of tennis ladies that would always sit at the bar and get absolutely faced on weeknights at our wine nights. They took a liking to our main bartender and kept calling him exotic. He's Mexican. They would say how love his beard, would talk about their fav, not tennis related, positions, how they kept their nether regions tidy, slip in their numbers, how their husbands were, etc. Gave me death glares every time I'd be bartending / bar backing with him lol. The exotic Mexican part got me lol. Even though we were busy, I clearly heard a woman say to her friend, hey look, the bartender's really cute. Friend, no he's not. Response, oh yeah, you're right. Damn dude. That sucks. I'm sure there's someone that thinks you're cute, even if it's just your mom. Back when you kept a newspaper on the bar, guy walks in and goes straight for the paper, looks in one section then the other, places paper down. I asked him if he found what he was looking for, and he said no, his ex isn't dead or in jail. Then he asked for a beer. I think you were living in a cold open from Cheers. I keep asking him to shoot it on my face, it's good for my skin. But he refuses. He says he doesn't want to disrespect me, but I'm literally begging. I was washing glasses right in front of these 2 girls at my bar. It wasn't even like I was far away across the bar. It's disrespectful to not take your girl's desires seriously. I once listened to 3 people have an in-depth discussion about how they were going to kill the local vampire and the steps to take to protect themselves from the coven that said vampire is surely from. My favorite though, what a heated debate over whether the first Robin would be a crime fighter if Batman hadn't picked him up and trained him. We love drunk comic book nerds. But yes, Dick Grayson still would have found a way to avenge his parents' death and fight crime, even without Batman. I once heard a guy tell his buddy, it's fun. It's like laser tag, but with real guns. That was 20 years ago, and to this day kick myself for not getting the whole story. Almost certainly meant paintball or airsoft. Sorry to ruin it for you. Was visiting my mom at work once. She tends bar, and heard her making conversation across the bar with a patron. Suddenly, over the music, I hear the guy slam his fist onto the bar and yell you. Factually, wrong. He immediately faceplanted on the bar, and his buddy had to carry him out of there. My mom was just commenting on the fact that the song that was playing was country. This guy was going through a divorce and his buddy was consoling him. He kept saying he'd never find someone as kinky as her. His buddy tried to tell him plenty of people are kinky, to which he replies, "You don't get it, dude. She used to blow our dog while holy mayo." One time I walked out to the patio to have a smoke break into 3 people all talking very drunkenly but also very seriously about theoretical physics. You think they have those straws for sucking drinks in your butt here? Wow. Can't compete with that. Don't even really understand that. Randomly overheard 2 middle-aged women. As a woman ages she can choose between her face or her asshole, but she can't choose both. I have no idea. I've seen it all. 1. A couple who was obviously not married to each other. They were on a business trip and would get drunk and make out like once a month when they met at my bar. 2. A lawyer and a judge who are definitely not in the same place talking about a murder. 3. If you didn't want it there, why did you ask for it anal? 4. Look, I'm not slutty, I'm just going through a phase where I f dudes. Those are my fav. Note, these are just some I'm prone to remember. I'm not calling the police to tell them that one time when I bartended the judge and lawyer that I don't know drank together. Work in a downtown hotel bar right across from our convention center. I've heard way too many negotiations between businessmen and escorts. Last one I heard involved the guy asking the lady how much extra she would charge to let his friend watch. She said it was $200 to watch, $500 if he joins in. I hated myself until I discovered masturbation. Just because I make love to myself doesn't mean I love myself. I've bartended but my favorite conversation was overheard while I was on the other side of the bar. Look, all I'm saying is Grand Theft Auto severely ruined our generation's perception of how many police helicopters exist. Sounded like they were getting really heated over the matter. That's a fair premise really. Not me, as I'm a cook, but a bartender I worked with and was good friends with overheard a regular that was a businessman who traveled to China, often bragging about getting underage hookers while there. Made sure to tell everyone who knew him about it. Oh, scrolled too much, it stopped being the funny ones. A customer is on the phone in the middle of the bar, not too crowded but a long bar. Guy couldn't have been more than 25. I go to help someone at the end of the bar, and on my way back I overhear, "No, I don't care. She's my sister. She is 13 and there is no reason she should be doing cocaine at all." Gave him a few drinks on the house that night. Dude, that poor guy. Once this older couple, 55ish, were talking about their bedroom problems. The guy clearly had impotence issues and the lady kept complaining that she was feeling frustrated because he was frustrated. And Viagra wasn't really helping, or at least not helping enough. Let's just say that other people around them weren't as comfortable as them about the conversation. I'm not sure why you would choose a restaurant as the venue for this conversation as opposed to literally anywhere else. These siblings, aged 50, 60s, arguing over there, not even dead, and in fact, present at the table, mother's will and who gets what. It ended in a heated argument and the son speeding off. That's horrible. On Valentine's Day this year, we had a guest who accepted a FaceTime from his girlfriend while his side chick was with him at the bar. He angled the phone so his girlfriend wouldn't see the girl, but it was so obvious. Here's your drink, and one for your date on the house. Happy Valentine's Day. I've heard discussions on if my boobs were real. Listen to a couple in an open marriage and apparently bisexual scout out the picking for the evening. Listen to tons of people telling their so that they were working late. One guy even met a date later. Listen to a couple have a very intense whispered argument about custody. I assumed a kid. Turned out to be a cat. Listen to a couple guys plan how to rob me. Bartending was fun, I miss it sometimes. Two businessmen having after work drinks on a Friday, where the conversation built up to one of the sweetest sentiments I've heard. At first the usual tell ya, you're a good person. I love you man. Later on, still fairly basic. The wives. Hey, you and me, we buy motorcycles. To finally this gem, if a tornado were to blow you away, I would fly after you. I mean that, or a group of 450 to 60-year-old women discussing their K/D spread in Call of Duty. You won't come home with me because I have a stinky sob. Middle-aged woman on a first date at like 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. The guy was planning on going home with her until that, I guess. Now I understand where all the patients presenting to the emergency department with vaginal discharge at 9 PM on a Wednesday come from. What happens a lot while working in bars is that you overhear small snippets of conversation that sound really weird taken out of context. Stuff like, the best way to steal eggs is to pretend that they are something else. The dogs wouldn't stand a chance against Bruce Springsteen in his prime. I don't know if she can swim, but she bought sandals in the 90s. I usually entertain myself making up stories about these conversations.